everybody. Welcome back to episode 49 of Talkoffamepod podcast with your host, Kyliemontigney. I'm so excited to have on the amazing singer, songwriter, and actress, Lily Bowen. Thanks for coming on, Lily.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Of course, I'm so happy to have you on. So you're an actress. What made you want to start doing that?
Well, ever since I was little, I've always been very charismatic, and I love performing for like my family and stuff, and I'd create like little characters. And then one day when I was about, I think I was like 8 or 9, my aunt sent me a flyer to be in this musical, this local little theater production. And let me tell you, I really wanted to do it, but I was absolutely terrified to audition. And because I'd never really done anything like that before. But eventually I decided to audition, and the day the audition came, I was petrified to go on stage and do it, but it ended up working out and I got a part. And my first part was, the first role I got to play was Victor the dog. And it wasn't much, but it was really exciting for me. And after the first few rehearsals, I just immediately knew that this was amazing and this was like my passion, and I really love performing on stage and just performing in general. And that's kind of where it started, I think. And then I just kind of continued doing a lot of musicals. And then in early 2020, I kind of got into more film and TV stuff, and I booked quite a few projects, but a lot of it got cut, or they canceled a lot of it because of COVID. But yeah. I ended up getting to do some of the projects, and being on set, like on a film set, really that was another amazing experience for me and made me want to work more in film and TV as well as acting on stage. And so I think that's where it started. But yeah.
That's awesome. Like when I first kind of started with the podcast, like as you kind of mentioned before, you're petrified. Yeah, I was basically petrified as well when I first time I started this in early 2021. Because I was like, I'd never done this before. Like the only things I see were on TV and my cousins doing journalism. These I have cousins that do journalism as well, do like work for my local news station. So I kind of knew what to do, but I was kind of petrified because I was like, okay, right, they'll do horrible at this. Like I'm afraid, like I'm gonna make fun of, like how am I supposed to do this? But then, like as time went on, I kind of got like used to that. I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is something I kind of want to pursue. But like, what was kind of your experience like doing your first play? Like, what was kind of your emotions like, even though like you're kind of scared of being on stage for the first time? What was that like?
I mean, personally, I still get scared when like first performances or auditions, like going in the room, and it's still scary to me, but I've learned to control my nerves and kind of put them into my performance, because it kind of just it kind of raises the stakes a little bit. And I think my first experience like on stage and stuff for performing really like professionally, like I said, I was really nervous, but like once I got into it, it was just so easy and so natural, and I was having the time of my life. So, and I think it shows when I'm performing, because I'm just really happy to be there. So
yeah, for sure. And like as like kind of you started acting like 2020, really when everything kind of shut down, like that means you couldn't really do roles and all those things. That's really sucked the most, is that we couldn't do things we're usually doing and want to pursue. But like, what was kind of the toughest kind of part for you as the kind of pandemic hit and you couldn't really do things as you basically regularly do on an everyday life? Like you couldn't go out of the house. So, like I'm sure for you as well, like I kind of thought, like what are we supposed to do? Like how am I supposed to control myself? Like how are we supposed to keep up with ourselves? Like what was kind of like for you to kind of control yourself and figure out what to do during this whole like kind of pandemic?
Well, the pandemic definitely like slowed down things for my career and stuff, because I was just really getting started and getting momentum into like the film and TV industry. And I was booking things, I was getting a lot of auditions and callbacks and stuff. And then just COVID hit and kind of swept that out the window. But I mean, I think it really gave me a chance to think about what I wanted to do, be more creative. And I wrote a lot of parodies, and I started songwriting during like quarantine and stuff. So that kind of, I started to write a lot more, and kind of as an actor, I think it's important to, I don't know, I really like a lot of things that are creative. So acting, singing, songwriting, it kind of all goes together for me. And I think COVID gave me a lot of time to be with myself and kind of be in my element. I don't know. But also COVID gave me more opportunities to do self-tapes, since all like the in-person auditions shut down. And since I live in Michigan, there's most of the opportunities for big film and TV stuff is in LA or New York, or all like the hot spots for the industry.
Yeah.
And like being in Michigan, it was kind of inconvenient for me to audition for those things, and they wouldn't normally see people like me. But because of COVID, self-tapes were introduced because people couldn't go in and audition like in the room with the casting director. And that actually gave me a lot more opportunities. And now self-tapes have become kind of the new norm in the industry.
Yeah.
Is kind of nice because it gives me more opportunities. And so, I mean, maybe it was just a blessing in disguise. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously no one wanted COVID to happen, but I'm grateful that I did okay, and that it didn't like make me want to stop or give up on my career. And I ended up getting lots of opportunities still, which is good.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, like kind of COVID hit. I think this is for you as well. Like since we had a lot of time, like we couldn't do anything, stay at home, depending on where you live, depending on the state or country you live in is different for everyone. So it's obviously depending where you can go outside. So there's different restrictions in every state and country. It's like I think mostly for everyone, the most important thing people kind of discover is like their work, and they like came up with work they never knew they're kind of passionate about, and kind of focus on their work. Most importantly, that's kind of what I focused on. I was literally talking about this with my cousin yesterday. He's like, oh, Kylie, like you need to focus on schoolwork and sleep. Like you haven't been getting sleep. Like Kylie, you need to focus on first. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to do work if I have do you have any advice on that? Like I can't like do things. And that's because I've been staying up to like 11:30 at night doing the podcast, writing to the podcast, or just like at least I'm writing a book right now. So I've been writing a book and stuff. So it's been a little crazy. He's like, Kylie, you need to go to bed earlier. I'm like, well, it's kind of not my fault. I have a lot of ideas coming in. But when you are coming up with ideas, either if it's for like acting or singing, songwriting, or this role they kind of are coming up with, like when you're reading for auditions, when you are reading for auditions, how do you know what like role you want to play? Like how do you really connect with the characters that you want to portray?
Well, I mean, usually first when I get an audition, I will read the character description and try to connect things about me, like personally, with the character that we have in common and that we share, so I can kind of embody the character more. And I mean, embodying the character, it's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
There's so many, I really like to play all sorts of different kinds of characters, because it allows me to kind of step away from myself and try to imagine what it would be like in other people's shoes, and really kind of live another life. I don't know, it's interesting for me because I get to learn and have new experiences and learn about experiences that people might have had. And yeah, I think I don't really know what to say here, but
you just like to learn new things, basically.
Yeah, it's cool. And I like to be able to like express the character and make people feel things. And I want to express my love for it to the audience and make them love it too.
Oh, that's awesome. So you got to play a role in A Miracle in Christmas. So I was like for you to do that.
So I played Lydia, the daughter of the daughter in Miracle on Christmas, and that was right before COVID hit. We started filming that, and I that was my first experience on like a film set. And I was really, really nervous at first. But it was just such a great experience. I met so many amazing new people. I made connections. I learned so much. Like and it kind of also made me love it even more, because being on a film set is a lot different from like being on stage, just auditions and stuff like that. So really kind of being there and seeing it all come together and being behind the scenes and working with all these other amazing actors really just made me even more passionate about it. And it was a really great experience overall.
Oh, for sure. Like, do you have anyone that kind of stuck out to you that you worked with, like throughout your career, either as like a singer-songwriter or an actress? And do you have anyone that kind of stuck out to you the most, like kind of meant the most to you that you worked with?
Well, in Miracle on Christmas, I acted with my the two other child actors who are on set with me, Braden Eaton and Ethan Matthias. We all got really close together, and we were like, there's a teacher on set, and we all had to like do set school, which was actually pretty fun. And I'm glad I met them, because I'm still in contact with them today, and they're really great actors and they inspire me. So that's
for sure. Like friends that you really meet on set or through like Zoom or like through in general, like those are just people that are meant to be in your orbit. Like whatever, like people around your age, you're able to kind of commit more, like kind of connect more and kind of gain more like friendships with them. Like if you work with someone or like twice your age, like an adult or something, kind of not, it doesn't really bond with them the most of the time. You're just like, hi, how you doing? But then like when you're around people like your age, like 15, 16, 17, around there, like you're able to kind of connect with them more and kind of gain a little more kind of confidence with them, I would say.
Yeah, it's really cool, because I was like, in my school, there's not really anybody else who does acting or is passionate about acting kind of like I am. And it was really cool to share the experience with them, because we were so alike and we were kind of all in the same boat as child actors who were passionate about it. And it's really cool to kind of meet your people. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're also a part of the Cooler crew. What was it like for you to film that and work with cast?
Well, the Cooler Crew, since I wrote it, and this was like my first experience like writing, producing, casting, and acting in something at the same time. So it was all kind of rushed. So I think that's one of the main reasons I was very kind of nervous for this experience. But I really had a great time on set, and I was very scared that I wouldn't do a good job like directing, helping out, and acting in it. I wouldn't be efficient or, you know, but it all ended up working out, and it was not nearly as scary as I thought, thanks to the wonderful cast and crew I had the privilege of working with. And it was just overall a really great experience for me, and makes me want to write, direct, and kind of be more creative. And it's really cool to see how things work from that side of the industry.
For sure. Do you have anyone they look up to as an actress and a songwriter, or just in general? Do you have anyone they look up to?
Well, I'd say some actors that I look up to. I look up to Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Jennifer Lawrence, and also like because of him singing, acting, writing, directing, I look up to Lin-Manuel Miranda, because I think that what he does is something that I kind of aspire to do. Like, he can do all the things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's really inspiring to me. And I kind of felt like I had to stick to one thing, like acting, just like be an actor. And it's like, you can't do everything, you know, but really that makes me feel like that I can. So he's really inspirational to me as well.
Yeah, for sure. Have you seen him in Hamilton since he was in
Yes,
Hamilton?
I love Hamilton.
Like, what was it like? Did you like? What was it like for you to see him in person? He's like, I heard it was really good in person.
Oh, I didn't get to see it in person. I got to see I
Oh,
watched it on Disney Plus,
oh,
but
Disney Plus.
not the
Yeah,
same
it's really
experience, but still
fantastic.
great.
Like, I would literally love to see it in person. Like, I heard it
That'd
was
be
really
so
good
awesome.
for
I
sure.
wish I could go to a Broadway show.
Yeah, I just love Broadway. Broadway is like my favorite thing ever. Like, I just really love Broadway. But as we're in a new year, what are your goals you hope to achieve in 2022?
Well, I'm hoping to get more opportunities to audition, to be on set, and I think maybe I'll even write a season 2 of the Cooler Crew and work with those people again, because that was such an amazing experience for me, and it really made me love it even more, love this craft and stuff like that. So I'm just wishing for more success in this new year, and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, have you like when you're hoping for 2022 as it kind of stuck in 20 like since you're kind of stuck in quarantine for 2020, since like almost about like 2 3 years now since we've been stuck in quarantine and stuff. Like, what was kind of when you're kind of writing the Cool Crew? Did you start filming in like I think you said it before, but did you start filming before the pandemic hit, or you was it like kind of during the pandemic?
So the Cooler Crew, we filmed it over this last summer.
Ah, I gotcha.
I wrote it like in the midst of the pandemic kind of.
Mm.
Summer, it was things kind of cooled down a little bit because everything's outdoors and cases were dropping. So that's when we decided to film it. Plus, I'm off school, so
Yeah, absolutely.
child actors.
Yeah, in more free time, absolutely. But you also got to play a role in Cousins. What was that process like for you to get that role and to train that character?
It was a very small crew when we filmed Cousins, but it was I've never really done like a very emotional kind of deeper character before, and this character was kind of a lot like me, and it was more dramatic, I think, and than like the other projects that I've done, and it was really cool to get in touch with that side of it. So
Yeah, for sure. Do you have the final question for the interview is what's some advice for younger generations that like to be an actress or singer-songwriter one
well, I think the biggest like thing that was hardest for me was not giving up, because it's a really long journey to get to like a professional level. Like there's so much you need to do. You need to go into acting classes, you need to sign up for auditioning sites, and try your best to get agents, managers, and it's just a whole long journey, and you deal with a lot of rejection, and that's one of the hardest parts, I think, for me.
day?
But I've learned, because if you really love it, you'll stick at it, and I've learned that not everything's going to be right for me, and I just got to wait for my time, and everything happens for a reason. So just the main thing I'd say for younger generations is to not give up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, as time went on with the podcast, I'm like, okay, like at one point I was like, okay, this interview sucked. I can't do this anymore. Like, this is not how I wanted it to be. Like, I really, one time I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this time off. Like, I think I need a break. Like, I need to think like if I still want to do this podcast or not, because I did not enjoy it right now. Like, this is something I do not love right now. And so I don't, and like I kept getting rejections after rejection. I was like, I hate this right now. I'm not used to getting rejected. And like over like when people come on to guest and like with the new book, people are rejecting it a little bit. So I was like, okay, well, what's the point anymore? Like, why am I trying to do this if I'm going to keep getting rejected? Like, this stinks. You know, I think it was probably just like for everyone that are dealing with industry, like acting and all those things. At first everyone's like, okay, well, it sucks well, I don't think I should do it anymore. Like you said, like you kind of like don't know if you should kind of stick with it. But if you really, really love something that you're doing, then you should stick with it. It might feel like, okay, I shouldn't do this anymore and just sing right now. But then like a couple days later, you're like, okay, well, I kind of will go back to this again. So like, I think it's probably be like, okay, well, just think about it and think about what you did wrong and try to kind of learn from that, I'll say. And so, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was so great speaking with you. You're amazing. You want to speak soon for sure.
You are too.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thanks so much for this opportunity. I had a great time talking to you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Have a good rest of your day too.
You too. Bye.